You know all those little things your dog does every single day? The way they stretch when you get home, the way they dig at the couch. We see these things so often that we just, kind of stop seeing them. But have you ever really stopped and wondered what they're actually trying to say with all that? Well, behind every single one of those little quirks, there's a hidden message. And honestly, some of them are way, way deeper than you could ever imagine. So let's start with a question you've probably asked 1,000 times.
Right? What is actually going on in that furry little head of theirs? I mean, what's behind that big dramatic stretch the moment you walk in the door? Or why do they suddenly just plop down in the middle of a rainy walk and refuse to move? I promise you, none of it is random. It's all part of this incredibly complex language, a language built on thousands of years of instinct and emotion. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to play translator. We're going to decode all those strange, wonderful behaviors to find out what our dogs are really trying to tell us. Okay, so first up, everyday social signals. These are the gestures our dogs use to show us how they're feeling, to connect with us, to just talk to us. You see them constantly, but you might be totally misinterpreting what they actually mean.
Oh, yeah, you've definitely seen this one. You walk in the door after a long day, and your dog does this huge, satisfying, full body stretch. It feels like they're just loosening up their muscles, right? But it's so much more than that. It's an emotional hello. This gesture is a really powerful social signal, and it's almost identical to a play bow. You know, when they put their front paws down and their rear end up to say, hey, let's play, I'm friendly. When they stretch for you like that, they're literally releasing all the tension and stress that built up while you were gone. It's their body's way of saying, phew, I'm so relieved you're back. Now here's a funny one. You let out a big sneeze, and your dog immediately perks up, maybe even gets excited. Ever wonder why? Well, it's because dogs actually sneeze at each other during play. It's their way of signaling, hey, I'm getting really excited, but this is all in good fun. So when you sneeze, that sharp exhale sounds just like an invitation. They think you're kicking off a game.
Ugh, we have all been here. You call your dog, come here, and nothing. Crickets. Our first thought is that they're being stubborn, right? Defiant. But here's what's really happening in their head. They're running a quick cost-benefit analysis. Seriously, dogs are brilliant at linking our words with what happens next. So if come here often means the fun stops, like they have to go in their crate or the walk is over, they're going to hesitate. They're not being disobedient. They're making a totally logical calculation based on past experiences. Pretty smart.
But look, it's not just about how they communicate with us. To really get them, you have to understand that dogs are constantly reading their environment in ways we can barely even imagine. Their world is literally painted in smells and sounds that we are completely blind to. For them, it is a completely different reality. And this quote just nails it. You know when you're on a walk and your dog just stops and sniffs a single patch of grass for what feels like an eternity? We get impatient, we're like, come on, let's go. But for them, that one little spot is the morning paper. It's packed with headlines, social updates, and all the local gossip. So what's actually in this morning paper? I mean, it's a mind-boggling amount of data. With just one good sniff, they can tell who was here before me. Was it a friend or was it a rival? How long ago did they pass by? Were they feeling stressed out? Were they healthy? They're not just sniffing pee, they're downloading critical social intelligence. Okay, and have you ever been on a walk when it starts to rain and your dog just stops, plants their butt on the ground, and refuses to move? It's not them being dramatic, it's a full-on sensory overload. Think about it. Suddenly, their entire newspaper of smells gets washed away. The ground feels different, sounds echo strangely. For an animal with instincts from the wild, a sudden drastic change like this is a warning sign. So their instinct is to just stop, observe, and wait until the world makes sense again. Now, let's bring it indoors because some of the weirdest things our dogs do inside the house are actually just echoes of their ancient wild ancestors. These are deep survival behaviors playing out right there on our living room couches. Couch digging. To us, it just looks like senseless destruction, right? But for them, it's actually an instinctual way to self-regulate stress. I mean, think about it. Their wild ancestors dug dens for safety and shelter. For your dog, that digging motion is a hardwired way to release pent-up energy and create a sense of comfort and security. They're not trying to be bad, they're literally trying to make themselves feel safe. And get this, here's a behavior that actually has a name. Post-elimination zoomies. You know what I'm talking about? That crazy, chaotic sprint they do right after they go to the bathroom? For any animal in the wild, going to the bathroom is a really vulnerable moment.
Once the business is done, all that nervous energy that was building up just explodes in this burst of pure relief and happiness. It's basically a celebration of safety.
And to really understand their fears, you have to look at something like the vacuum cleaner from their perspective. To a dog, it is a monster. No question. It moves unpredictably, it has no smell they can identify, no face they can read for cues, it makes the floor vibrate in a weird way, and most importantly, it emits this high-pitched noise that physically hurts their super-sensitive ears. To a dog, it is a strange, loud, unpredictable threat. And now, we've arrived at one of the most common and maybe the most misunderstood behaviors of all, the one that we almost always interpret as a simple kiss. We are about to uncover the real, deep meaning behind a lick and why it's truly the ultimate sign of connection.
So, what does it really mean when your dog licks you? Let me just say, it is so much more than a simple doggy kiss. We see it as affection, and it is, but for them, it's one of the most complex ways they have of communicating. It's not just one single action, it is a whole conversation packed into one single gesture.
This one act has 3 incredible layers. Okay, so first, it's about bonding and care. This is a behavior they learn from their mother as puppies. It's a foundational act of connection. Second, and this is the part that blows my mind, they are literally reading your emotions. They can taste the subtle chemical changes on your skin, like the shifts in cortisol when you're stressed or sad. They can taste your feelings. And finally, it's a calming effort. When they sense you're overwhelmed, that licking is their attempt to soothe you, to ground you, to bring you back. They are actively trying to regulate your emotion. So, when your dog licks you, they aren't just being affectionate. They are gathering data about how you feel, they are giving you comfort, and they are reinforcing your bond. It's not just a kiss. It's this profound declaration that says, "You are mine, you are safe, and I'm here for you." It is a promise. Your dog isn't just being random or silly or weird. They are communicating with you constantly, with every single stretch and sniff and lick. And once you start to really learn their language, you begin to realize that they understand us so much more deeply than we ever imagined. So the real question is, now that you're starting to get it, what will your dog tell you next?